Harlan Voss was tracing the well-worn path to inspect his snare lines. Then he halted sharp, hearing an odd noise, a weak gurgling whimper, like the wail of some beast teetering on the edge of the grave. Harlan edged nearer. Amid the parched scrub, snared in his corroded metal jaw, lay no beast but a Navajo lady. She stood tall, with a sturdy, sinewy frame, yet now she was slick with crimson. Her calf was gripped in the jaws, and gore had seeped into the soil below her. Her bronze-tanned hide was dusted thick, and her raven tresses stuck to her damp-with-sweat brow. She glanced up, and in her profound ebony orbs terror and hopelessness flared fierce. As Harlan advanced, her quivering palm stretched forth, and her cracked, gravelly tone emerged. "Mercy, aid me! But I plead with you, do not ravage me. Do not place me on a pallet. That is taboo for a soul exiled like I am." In that instant, the clock appeared to halt. Harlan lingered motionless for a beat. Then his coarse, work-roughened grip grasped the snare. The icy iron in his stare eased a touch. With a crisp snap, the jaws sprang wide. The lady slumped to the earth, heaving for breath. Harlan hoisted her aloft, her form weighty, shuddering, and pivoted toward the shack's bearing. The weathered timber shack hunkered low at the base of the ridge, where Harlan Voss had dwelled in isolation for countless seasons. The blaze popped in the grate, throwing a cozy amber sheen over the soot-stained panels. Upon the crude cot, draped in a fleece coverlet, Lena Croy reclined motionless, her calf bound slack in fresh linen. The gash still wept red. Her features were drawn tight, and her profound ebony orbs never strayed from Harlan. Each time he neared, she twitched a fraction, akin to a trapped critter. Harlan uttered scant. He set a basin of liquid beside her, tossed in a handful of hardened crusts, then pivoted off, granting her the choice alone. He knew quiet well, but this hush rang altered, strained, choking, as though a single flicker might ignite the whole. That dusk the gale moaned through the plank barriers. Harlan perched by the blaze, his iron-hued gaze locked on the blaze, though he scarce beheld them. Aback him, a faint shuffle sounded. Lena Croy was striving to rise, groping for a morsel of crust. Her digits shook, yet she nodded savage, like one starved for weeks. Harlan kept his back turned. He merely dipped his chin to his chest. Come dawn, he guided the pony from the pen, and drew fluid for the herd via a slit in the entry. Lena Croy observed, her orbs brimming with wariness and intrigue alike. This fellow bore no resemblance to the sort she'd encountered. No pens, no orders, merely serene existence, and space for her to breathe as she willed. As twilight descended, Harlan came back laden with a bundle of kindling. Crossing the threshold, he spied her wrestling the range. Her hands were broad and robust, but fumbling. Fumes billowed high, smarting her sight. She whirled, stare keen with defiance. "I require no aid from you." Harlan voiced naught. He just advanced, withdrew a twig, softly puffed the coal, and the blaze kindled anew, slotting the twig in place. He spun and strode off, abandoning her rooted in awe. That eve, as the gale shrieked beyond in gusts, three elements mingled in the tight shack: dread, vigilance, and the tiniest sprout of faith. Harlan sprawled on the elongate settle, orbs gaping at the beams, attuned to the ragged rhythm of Lena Croy's breaths astern him, and for the premiere in ages, the shack rang no more utterly void. In the weeks ahead, the tight shack gradually adopted a fresh cadence. Lena Coy, wary still, had commenced rising from the cot, limping round the space. Her swathed calf throbbed sore, but her orbs gleamed undimmed, ever loath to bear frailty. At outset, she merely perched mute in a nook, eyeing Harlan labor. He chopped timber, lugged fluid, nourished the herd, all with the steady thrift of a loner versed in solitude. Yet Lena Coy's orbs, though she sought to veil it, trailed his each motion. One morn, as Harlan straightened the cook nook, he startled to spy the kettle brimming with fluid, primed to simmer. At table sundry splits of kindling lay piled awkward, yet orderly. She spake zilch, averting her visage as if scorning the wee toil. Harlan spake zilch too, just a faint tilt of head, then resumed his chores. On the fourth dawn he beheld her straining to heft the hatchet for cleaving logs. Her limbs were potent, but her swings clumsy. The edge bit oblique, flinging a sliver of log airborne, nigh clipping her toe. Harlan dashed forth and seized the helve. Their stares clashed, his chill slate, hers profound and shadowed. The strain hung dense, nigh volcanic. But then he eased her grips aside tender, and laid the hatchet low. You ought not strain ere you've mended. Harlan's timber was deep, resolute. Lena Coy clamped her mouth, honor smouldering in her regard. But that gloaming he marked the kindling heaped tidier than prior. Bit by bit the gulf twixt them commenced to narrow. They yet uttered sparse, but the hush weighed no more leaden. Joint suppers waxed routine. Lena Coy supped deliberate, and once, glancing up, she spied Harlan stealthily nudging an extra strip of flesh to her dish. She blinked startled a tick, then veered off, veiling a dim, unsure grin. Yet another instance, whilst Harlan toiled sans mending the barrier, a fierce blast wrenched the pane ajar. Lena Coy hobbled o'er and wrestled to latch it. Her rugged palm bore on the frame, clamping it fast till Harlan re-entered. As he crossed in, her brow gleamed with moisture, but her orbs defied him. I am no frail thing. Harlan regarded her longer than wont. He voiced naught, merely lifted her roughened palm from the pane and proffered a parched rag. And for the premiere, Lena Coy withdrew not. Dawn upon dawn the shack that erst cradled sole the aura of a lone soul now bore another gust, coarse, defiant, yet vividly present. Neither had voiced it aloud, but both had trod the initial strides on the trail to reliance. One stormy eve the gale wailed from the ridges, battering the sheeted eaves of the shack with drawn, sorrowful howls. In the hearth the tongue snapped mild, hurling a ruddy amber luster on the plank barriers etched with ancient lead scars. Harlan perched by the casement. A grimed fiddle lay hushed at his boots. His orbs bored into the sable veil of downpour. Athwart the chamber, on the cot, Lena Coy reclined mute, her shadowed orbs vast, sleep eluding. The patter of the deluge roused aught in them both, recalls they'd fain bury. Harlan uttered, his tone coarse as breeze scouring rock. I erst bore kin, a spouse, and a lad who ne'er drew first air. One chill tide a scourge raged wide. I beheld them fade, every one. And thence 'tis sole I, and this dwelling. He halted. His grip quivered faint as he clutched his cheroot. In that hush Lena Coy wheeled toward him. Her regard pinned. The blaze glow mellowed her lined visage, rendering her orbs vaster yet. After a drawn instant, she murmured, her timber fracturing like brittle stems. I forfeited all, too.
They dubbed me Hex, for seasons I bore no heirs. They deemed me load, cause of the band's waning.
My mate forsook me, even my kin spurned me. As the terms fled her, Lena's wide frame quaked. Eons of dignity, eons of scarred gashes rent asunder like splintered pain. Harlan neared not. He proffered no solace. He merely inclined his head. Orbs of frosted ore riveted on the blaze. Two souls, a herder bereft of clan, and a Navajo lady banished, sat in sundered nooks of the shack, yet cleaved the self-same void in their cores. That hush weighed no more burdensome. It had woven to a filament slender, unseen that tugged two fractured spirits nigher. Sans the torrent yet lashed the shack's flanks, but within, for the premiere in ages, two souls sensed no utter isolation. And if this whisper of shared scars tugs at your own hidden aches, folks, lean in close. Hit that like button if it stirs you. Drop a comment sharing a memory of quiet strength you've known. And subscribe now, so we ride these trails of the heart together, one tale at a time. Chill tide crept gradual from the ridges, but the eaves clung frigid as blade, e'en with portals sealed firm. The timber shack quivered with each buffet of gale. Harlan crouched afore the hearth, his rough-hewn palms whittling a crude ladle from a scrap of oak. His orbs, though, scarce heeded the craft. They strayed oft to the dame in the remote angle. Lena Coy, swathed in a threadbare fleece throw, toiled patient at darning a rent tunic with aged twine. The eve hung serene. Sole the snap of the blaze brimmed the void. Then, wordless, Harlan gained his feet and snagged the bulkiest wrap slung by the portal. He paced o'er and soft-draped it o'er Lena Coy's sturdy shoulders. She started, her shadowed orbs snapping to his worry, and a smidge baffled. Harlan murmured low, his tone gravelly yet kind. The frost bites deep. Lena Coy riposted not, but her palm, yet clasping the budkin, quivered faint, as if raining aught nameless. From that juncture, the wee token swelled. At board, Harlan eye nudged the viands to her quarter. When she essayed to haul fluid from the spring, Harlan trailed mute astern, clasping the cord to brace the pail. Not past lips, but those still deeds of tending gradual eroded the barbs round their bosoms. One gloaming posted-drawn span mending the rail, they perched conjoint on the stoop. The upland breeze swept by, wafting whiffs of sere meadow and hearth reek. Harlan decanted her a moiety of rye spirit and tendered it. Lena Coy dithered, then clasped and nipped. The bite of the draught set her plump lips quiver faint. Their orbs held longer than custom. In the ember shine Harlan spied in her regard aught beyond dread or dignity. A new gleam dawned, dim yet riveting. Wordless, he extended and grazed her rugged palm. Roughness kissed roughness. Lena Coy shrank not. In that tick, it seemed the last filament rent loose. Harlan inclined, his lips grazing hers, tentative at prime, then surer, as if atoning for all lorn spans and all forfeited. Lena Coy quaked. Her potent shoulders melted to him, and in that clasp two sundered essences at last seized aught to grip. That eve the shack echoed not soul with gale and blaze. It cradled the cadence of breaths mingled twixt two who brave the gloom to court the gleam. Gossip flared swift o'er the arid flats. In the hamlet, murmurs swelled about a Navajo dame exiled, now secreted at Harlan Voss's spread. Some scoffed, others reckoned her worth if yielded to the closest trade den. And midst them, one pursuit man hush took the task. His moniker was Rex Harlan, no kin mind, lanky and gaunt, with pelt etched like tarnished ore and stares keen as dirk. He eked coin, chasing the shattered and the shunned. Now he fixed on this dame, bent on reaping a fat bounty.
One tardy afternoon, with scarlet beams spilling o'er the vast meadows, Harlan was towing a pony to the lean-to when he caught Trot in the afar. The jangle of iron on pommel tolled like a dirge knell. Harlan slack-loosed the leads and laid a palm on the carbine at his flank. Lena Coy gained the stoop, her bronze-tanned visage uplifted, ebony orbs aflame in the waning beam. She had endured a span beneath disdain, but this nonce she ken true peril knocked. Rex Harlan drew rein at the timber pale. His timber rasped arid. Words out you're harbouring a Navajo dame, that one's valued. Yield her, and I'll depart peaceable. Harlan reared tall, his frame weighty as the ridge at his rear. He riposted blunt, she ain't chattel for barter. Rex leered, flapping a dog-eared writ in the zephyr. Then you're defying statute, and I relish blockheads like you, mule-headed to the last. The breeze scoured the lofty stalks, heaving powder athwart the bare yard. The ether waxed dense, nigh strangling. Harlan eased a still pace aback, granting Lena Coy a faint nod, as if bidding her within. But she stirred not. She clutched the wee hatchet in her grasp, her orbs searing as conflagration. The firmament deepened to sable violet. Gloom fell, and therewith a reckoning that brooked no dodge. Harlan wist well. Gore would flow. He wheeled to Lena Coy, his timber deep yet steadfast. Come what may, I won't suffer him to claim you. And afore, Rex Harlan cinched his clasp on the iron at his thigh, his orbs as a stalker's, primed to pounce. A lethal fray loomed close. Harlan braced firm at the portal, his hold vice on the repeating rifle, whilst within Lena Coy quivered. The phantasm she'd long dreaded waxed flesh. A trio of pursuit men had tailed them, flares clutched, orbs agleam with threat. Surrender the Navajo dame, whore-herder, and perchance you'll draw breath. The head's growl rasped thick, as if he tallied triumph ere hand. Harlan hawked to the turf, levelling his rifle to his sights. Advance one stride more, and one of you drops. The ether hung fraught and electric. One twitch of the hammer, and ichor would daub the stoop planks. But as the strain crested, a deep ram's horn blared from the vale's brim. Then umbras stirred, mounts shrouded in pelt cloaks, lances winking in the blaze glow. Navajo braves. The pursuit men wheeled in dismay, but ere they rallied, shafts whistled the breeze, spiking their flares to the loam and quenching the blaze. The flats gulped dark, save the thud of hooves hymning from all sides. A lofty Navajo senior spurred forth, his timber resounding pure and bold. You stalk the frail, hawk their flesh as stock. This trespass shall not pass unreckoned by the clan. The pursuit men, wan and shuddering, were felled and trussed by the braves. The vista rang like doom decreed by the sod itself, irrefutable, utter. Lena Coy gained the stoop, her countenance limned by the fitful blaze. The selfsame braves who erst shunned her now dipped chins. The senior's timber roughed, laden with import. We erred to banish you, you spring from our vein. Henceforth, should you elect to bide with this soul, that's your will. But heed, we fare to right the rift. Brine brimmed Lena Coy's orbs. She wheeled to Harlan, and her robust palm sought his, the one that dared buck the globe for her. Harlan yielded a still nod, a burden easing from his core. He stood no more solitary in this fray. And paramount, Lena Coy rang no more adrift. She was owned by ardour, by volition, and by her folk. That eve, 'neath a vault thronged with sparks, naught of gore need spill, but the cause of two souls and a whole clan knit anew through volition, through ardour and through pardon. Come morrow, beams unfurled o'er the flats, yet weighted with night's haze. Harlan's wee timber shack, erst emblem of lonesome, now beamed with vigour, the whinny of mounts and the tongues of Navajo sires and dames brimming the ether suns. The clan had bided the dark, both as wards and token of grace. Harlan perched on the stoop treads, his repeater lax at his flank, a steaming draught of coffee in fist. Lena Coy crossed sons, her bronze-tanned countenance agleam with aught he'd ne'er spied. Serenity. She hushed settled beside him, her potent yet soft palm on his. The senior neared and bowed to them twain.
We are beholden to you, Harlan, and to Lena Coy. The clan was sightless. We suffered our kin to ache, reviled and forlorn, but you proved mercy outstrips dread. Henceforward the portals of our clan stand eye ajar to you. Harlan riposted with a still nod. He craved no lofty terms. What weighed was Lena Coy rang no more exiled, and he rang no more soul. As the clan withdrew, Lena Coy gazed long, then wheeled to Harlan and breathed, "I reckon I'm carrying." Harlan stilled. His palm sought her midriff, quaking as if loath to credit the terms fresh heard. A beam cracked his visage, a mug erst hewn by toil and forfeit. In his orbs now gleamed a spark of promise, a ray mightier than all the lorn yesteryears astern. In the spans hence they essayed to refit the shack in tandem. Harlan appended a wee chamber off the flank, oft halting to fancy the patter of tiny soles over the plank stoop. Lena Coy perched by the casement, piecing scraps of linen into mite tunics. Her orbs brimmed with still bliss as the gloaming beams dyed the flats in blazing russet. Harlan perched on the stoop, his limb round Lena Coy's shoulders. Her palm lay soft over her midriff, where fresh vigour quickened. The breeze bore whiffs of sere meadow, blaze reek, and the still vow of a fairer morrow. Harlan murmured low, his timber deep and kind, "P'raps the Almighty let a stray soul to cross paths." Lena Coy nistled her crown to his shoulder and shuttered her orbs. In that tick they both wist though the globe sands endured stark. They clutched hearth, kin and creed nor could shatter. Athwart the flats, where erst dust and lorn reigned sole, a fresh yarn had sprouted, one of ardour, pardon, and kin forged from ache. Beloved kin, in life's barrens, ardour is the scant bead of dew that slakes the essence. It blots nay every cicatrix, but steels us to press on. A soul may endure by blaze and blade, but he dwells true soul when he spies a palm to clasp and hearth to seek. In fine, I tender you spans brimmed with glee and weal. I cherish you, my cherished throng of frontier yarn weaving. Share your musings on this yarn. Scribe a note beneath. Key the cipher one if it warmed you, and mind to subscribe for more gripping yarns from the frontier.